Greetings, Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. This is Tyra Milade, your Goddess Guru, your sister friend, and I love helping women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess centered lifestyle. And honestly, I'm doing these videos looking at celebrities. This is a video where I'm going to be looking at some celebrity charts because it's fun and I've been stressed out here lately. I love astrology and it just kind of helps me channel, curiosity and doing something that is fun, which is for me astrology. Astrology is a framework. I think in astrology quite a bit. Um, and there just been a couple of people who, number one person who I'm curious about, that's Drake. Number two, someone asked me about Wendy Williams. Three, someone asked me about Ava DuVernay. So I am going to look at their charts. I'm going to start with Wendy Williams. I'm not really digging much into their charts. There is a part of me that is like wanting to be ethical. And so I just want to look at things that are sort of on the surface, kind of explains things that we already know. Drake and Wendy Williams are very public figures. And Ava, I just want to see why is she so successful? So not doing anything too deeply. Now, why is this good for everyone? Well, you can learn astrology by understanding, how it affects people who are in the limelight. Um, so yeah, I want you just to continue to see what's possible. My position is this: we have divination in our hands so that we do not have to live life blindly. Outside of astrology, I would say the second one would be numerology. But these are the two sciences that I think are so easy for people to get access to. We can get readings from people, and like in the EFI tradition, that particular, excuse me, divination system is, you know, amazingly accurate in so many ways. But um, you got to find a priest or a priestess to be able to do the reading for you. And I find people get a lot of clarity, and it's not exactly like you can just do your own readings and feel clarity about them. So for me, I do use the EFI tradition. I'm sure there's other ones, like I use Metu Neter. Again, it's not necessarily an oracle deck you can use and fully understand. It takes, just like with astrology, a lot of work, but still there's this accessibility around astrology, numerology, and it gives you a roadmap. Why are we walking around here making all of these decisions? And sometimes we just lack clarity. I believe in following your intuition, and I also believe in looking at there's a blueprint and understanding the blueprint. And how can we more, with a more awareness and intentionality, live our lives? So I just want to let y'all know that's the main thing. I mean, the other thing is this. Let me tell you this. I That's important. And another reason I like looking at stars is because the thing that astrology has done for me is it allows me to accept people for who they are, which is why I'm looking at Drake. I don't listen to Drake's music. I don't have anything for or against Drake, to be honest with you. But in me watching, you know, just hearing things about Drake, I really actually started kind of laughing because Drake is all about loyalty. And I was like, Drake has got to be a Leo in some kind of way. He has to be a Leo because it's kind of like when you understand a person's astrology, it can help you accept them. Or when you understand your astrology, because there's the positive manifestation of it, it's the negative manifestation of it. It can help you better channel it in a way that's beneficial and supportive of your life. Some astrological signs, say for instance, Scorpio. Scorpio has a cutthroat energy to it. And it just helps you to learn how to use your cutthroat energy in a way that's positive instead of negative. Or, it's just kind of like some signs are just a little bit more cutthroat than others. And we shouldn't be asking these people, like if we're thinking about Aries, don't ask Aries to not fight. That's who Aries is. They're going to fight no matter what. Um, so I love it because it helps me to understand people and accept them for who they are. And also, it helps me to deal with them in a way where, I understand what motivates them. I know Capricorns. It's like, don't disrespect Capricorns. Now, Capricorns will disrespect people. Some Capricorns, they will talk down to you. They don't mean to most of the time, but Capricorns can be a little condescending, but when you're really wanting to work with a Capricorn, do not belittle that Capricorn. You just want to speak with respect because that's so important. They're so proud of being producers. And so, it's things like that. When I understand how a person operates, especially when I understand their astrology, it just makes how I relate to them more effortless. So we're gonna oh, I forgot I had the chart up. I'm looking at my camera right here. So I'm not necessarily see when I'm looking at the screen, this is what it looks like. But I want you to know you and I are having a conversation. So I'm looking you in your eye. Okay. You'll see me looking off to the side too, because the screen with all of this is over here on my right hand side. So I'm starting with Sis Wendy. I've never actually been a Wendy Williams fan. I never watched her show. I don't actually know much about Wendy. I don't know why I like looking at the stars because I actually don't know much about any of them. Sometimes I get a little bit obsessed, but it's just not, I don't care about, I don't keep up with people like that. I don't keep up with pop culture a lot. So it's interesting that I love looking at their charts. But someone asked me to look at Wendy's chart. The thing that I will say about Wendy Williams is I feel a little bit sorry for her. I did kind of look at when did Wendy get sick? What was happening? And so, yeah, Wendy has some really challenging placements. So, first of all, she's an Aquarius rising, which, Wendy, I don't know if Wendy has had, um, what do you call it? What is this? Plastic surgery. Um, but she looks different to me. And to me, that's Aquarius. Aquariuses will always have something that's just a little bit of a different look about them because, Aquarius is weird and quirky and that kind of thing. But what I'll tell you about this is Wendy Williams actually started having problems when Saturn, which is a planet that is hardcore. Saturn is like, I want you to be your best self. It will tell you whatever you have put in, that's what you're going to get out when I show up at your front door. And so, Wendy has really struggled with being a healthy person. I know that she has struggled with addiction, maybe alcohol addiction. I can't remember which one, but I know it's some type of substance abuse that she's been dealing with. So, right around the time that Wendy Williams started getting really, really ill, Saturn went across this right here, which is her ascendant, which is the body. Now, just because Saturn goes across your ascendant, I've had it happen, doesn't mean that what's gonna happen to you is what happened to Wendy Williams. It's all on a case by case basis. So it goes across her ascendant, actually, which is connected to her Jupiter, because her ascendant and Jupiter, they are actually interacting quite a bit. And mm, I think I'm gonna include this Neptune. It was a little bit before that, it's a little bit, the numbers are not super close. It's more close to this Jupiter, but um that created some challenges for her body. It really, that's when it all really began because Saturn will drain a thing. It will really and truly make that thing it'll decrease it. And so that's when she started having problems with her health and well-being. She even had a Saturn return, which we all is her second Saturn return. She had that at the top of 2023. I don't remember the full timeline because I actually looked at it yesterday, but there's been so much going on for her since around, I think, like 2018, 2019. And I believe a lot of it is this Saturn. And, I hadn't even noticed this until right now, but, someone mentioned the other day, like, what's the next thing happening for Wendy? Well, Saturn sat here at this 18th degree. Where's Saturn right now? Yeah, it sat here at this 18th degree right here on her Chiron for a long time. And so this is a house that could potentially have to um, have something to do with health and well-being. And, Chiron is a wound. And so it's kind of like exacerbating, I think, things that are happening to her with her health and well-being. Um, this fourth house has to do with the stomach, the breast. I think she has something going on with dementia. Let's see here. Where's her Mars? Over here in wow. Her Mars is in Gemini in the fifth house. Mars is the planet that has to do with her mind. And Jupiter, well, her Venus is right there too. Jupiter um, is really has really been activating that Venus and that Mars. And I think that that is some of what's really going on with her mind. And let's see here. Venus is also the ninth house. Yeah. So anywho, I can imagine. Seems like she has a what did they call it? It's some type of autoimmune. I'm not quite sure. Seems like she has some type of autoimmune disease. So I can just imagine it's just a lot going on in her body. I do believe we can abuse our bodies on the one hand, and they can really start breaking down on us. So, for instance, she has moon in Scorpio, and that's not a fun placement for the moon. I mean, I've heard the first three degrees are the worst placement, but I kind of find it doesn't matter. If somebody has moon in Scorpio, that could be a really challenging placement for people. Scorpio is hardcore. A lot of times it has to do with just chaos and abuse and even mental health, like psychological issues, things like that. And, we know that that's something that Wendy has been dealing with and trauma, that kind of thing. And I just kind of feel like, on the one hand, we know that Wendy Williams has had challenges with substance abuse that could be taking a toll on the body, but also just more of like any traumas that are unhealed, which is definitely possible with that moon in Scorpio. And she has this asteroid in her first house. It's called Lilith. And Lilith is, to a certain degree, it can kind of speak to things happening that are disempowering. I will say, I find it interesting that, she started out in radio and then she got her own talk show because, of course, that's very Aquarius and very Geminian. So that's to a large extent where we have seen so much of her success is with those planets, especially with speaking. She has Mercury over here in Leo. That, like I said, I don't know much about Wendy Williams, but it doesn't surprise me to see that she has, these kinds of placements. And Mercury is a fun planet, and then it's in Leo, which is also a fun planet. I wonder if her husband was younger than her because Mercury is a youngish energy, and so I wonder how much younger, if he is younger than her. Um, so yeah, the other thing is she has the sun over here in Cancer. in natal placement. So that's a little bit of a challenging placement. And I mean, it's like if I was her, I mean, if I were to talk to her, I would say you really need to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Like you have to make your health and well-being a top priority. So yeah, yeah. Um, so Wendy Williams, Pisces, let's see here. On the one hand, North Node in Pisces potentially can help can help her. Um, maybe she will have better care or something like that. Um, but the Pisces is just so volatile right now. I will say most everything is past all of her, like, it's all past her Mars, excuse me, her Saturn and these, what do you call them? Asteroids. So that's good. Although the eclipses are, moving in the direction back towards the front of the house, the Pisces house. So this could bring some new phase, and it just could be this phase where, she definitely is just in this new time in her life where, it's all about her people just taking care of her. So, yeah, that's what I'll share about Wendy Williams. And I actually thought I feel bad for Wendy Williams. This is a little bit of a challenging chart. Now, it's a lot of possibility here. She has truly lived out a lot of her purpose and her gifts and her talents. And by the same token, you can see why she's had some challenges. So that's Wendy Williams. Okay. I'm gonna have to it helps me to know when does one end and when does the next one begin. So we're gonna talk about Drake. Again, I only really just I've known about Kendrick Lamar and Drake, for easily a decade because of my children. But I've become a little more fascinated because of Kendrick Lamar and the Drake beef. Definitely a fan of K Dot and neutral around Drake. I think that well, first of all, it is confirmed. Drake is a Leo. It's in the website where I found the information on his time of birth said it was accurate. So Drake is a Leo because my question was, why is Drake so like you must be loyal to me? What really fascinated me was I saw something about a basketball player from Canada who was in Kendrick Lamar's video when he went back home to play for a team in Canada. Drake, his fellow, Canadian, they asked him about that. The media can be so petty right now. I just think I can't stand it. Anywho, they asked Drake what he thought about this basketball player. I can't remember the guy's name. And Drake was pretty much like, "No go. This guy's a no-go. Don't like him, don't want anything to do with him," right? And the basketball player is like, "I love Drake." Most people have respect for Drake, right? But once you I can't remember, they've talked about how if someone who in the past had worked with Drake works with somebody who Drake isn't down with, then Drake is like, "I'm not working with you anymore." I was like, "He's got to be a Leo. He's gotta be a Leo." Leos like loyalty. They are loyal and they like loyalty in general, okay? So, that's one thing. But, he's a Leo rising. I will say he's 29 degrees of Leo, so anytime there's a 29th degree, we wanna know why Drake's a little bit got a little bit drama going on. 29th degree will make life dramaful, okay? He's a king, he cares about how he looks, and, yeah, definitely the creative piece or whatever is there, absolutely. But, yeah, he is a true Leo as I see it. So then and this little point right here, the MC, it's called the career point. And his career point is in this sign of creativity. So definitely somebody who is designed to do creative works. But people want to know, why is Drake always starting beefs with people? Well, we can see, this is interesting. His ascendant is 29 degrees. The next degree after 29 is zero of the next sign. Okay. So his sun is zero. And why am I focusing on the sun? I'm focusing on the sun because it is the sign that rules Leo. One moment. So with that sun ruling Leo, it's like, tell me, what does it mean that we have the planet that rules Leo, that rules this person's personality? This is Drake's chart ruler. It is in Scorpio. Scorpio is the scrapper. It is ruled by Mars. It is part of the reason Drake does kind of align with being a little bit, I receive all people of color, all Black people, no matter if they're biracial or not. My grandmother was biracial. But the way they say he's fake with the culture, which to a certain degree, hip hop was started in the United States, hip hop, rap, all of that, starting in the United States. And so there is something about the culture that is like, even those, like my sons would explain it to me. It's like Drake is like if we tried to act like we were from the streets. Initially, I didn't quite get it, but then the more I've listened to it, the more it's just kind of like, yeah, Drake is posing a little bit. But I want to say he's a Scorpio. He's here for it. He, in a way, it's like he can't help that he was born into the community and went to the schools that he went to, because in him is a little bit of a gangster. All right. Because Scorpio is a little bit of a gangster sign. And according to my teacher, my astrology teacher, so is Aquarius, where his Mars is. What is Mars rule? Scorpio. So there's something in Drake that is like, yeah, this is a part of what we do. And I think it's what makes him a little bit um kind of like, okay, Scorpio is very dramaful. I'm doing my best to be respectful and nice, but it's like I told y'all with Wendy Williams, Scorpio is chaos. It's like we're gonna get down, we're gonna get dirty, and, like the negative manifestation of Scorpio is, um, I'm going all in. But I'm gonna strategize how I'm gonna do it. So Drake is a little petty, but it's almost like he can't help it. He wants to fight, and he likes this grit and this grime, because that's Scorpio. It's like going into the depths, and it's the underworld, and let's get ready to rumble. So to a certain degree, that's Drake. That's Drake. Um, and look, he even has Jupiter over here in Pisces in the eighth house. The eighth house is like Scorpio. I will say, Drake, this is kind of nice to have this grand trine here. And he has all this watery energy, and Jupiter and Pisces, definitely it could make you um into music. It can have you be doing music. The moon in the 12th house. The 12th house is associated with music and creativity and that kind of thing. Interestingly, I don't remember K Dot's chart, but I know K Dot had a lot going on in Cancer. And so does Kendrick, which puts you about your community, your ancestors, that kind of thing. The one thing I'm gonna say, because I'm not trying to break down this chart much, I just told y'all what I was curious about, and so I've looked at that. If I had an opportunity to talk to Drake, I would say, Drake, you need to accept that you are at a phase where something is ending and you want to start making these endings now. You need to look at what you need to change and transform, and you need to do that right now. Because right now, the eclipses, they left his ninth house and they're now in the eighth house. And while the eclipses were in the ninth house, that's when all of this started out. And, the ninth house is about publicity. So, did he have publicity in 2024? Yes, he did. But now they're in your eighth house, Drake. And this house is about where do you need to change? Where do you need to transform? Saturn is there now. And Saturn is asking you to clean something up. And I think that to a certain degree, let's see here, Jupiter rules that house and it rules the fifth house. I think you need to begin to transition yourself into doing something new, maybe stepping into something that's more authentically who you are. And, remembering that you are gifted, you are talented, and there's some new phase because these eclipses are, once they come down here into Aquarius, which is going to be around, let's see here, this is 2025. So 20, somewhere mid, later in 2026, something like that. We'll start seeing these eclipses happening. It's going to be life changing for you, Drake. And it's going to be the part that is releasing is going to be down here in your ascendant. So there's going to be something about you that you need to release and you need to let go. And, it's a little bit of ego going on with Drake right now. And the more he will surrender and go with the changes, then it's going to elevate him over time. So that's what I have to say about Drake. Okay. Lastly is Ava DuVernay. And, I have to be honest, don't know much about Ava either. Was super excited and impressed. I'm like, this woman is 2 years younger than me. She looked like she about 35. Like, wow. So you know what? Now I know what it is. Ava, she's a filmmaker and yeah, she's a woman who has been the first in many ways. So people who have Capricorn, I want to say Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, you will be granted the fountain of youth. There are a couple of other signs, like Geminians, in my opinion, stay youthful looking for a while. Maybe Pisces, maybe if Pisces don't run themselves into the ground, because Pisces can be very negligent. But sometimes I do find Pisces to look, it's like they have the fountain of youth. So she's a Capricorn rising, and her birth time that I have said it was very accurate also. So she is granted the fountain of youth. And yeah, she'll just age backwards. That's what happens with Capricorn. So happy for you, Ava. I'm a little jelly, but I'm happy for you. Um, other thing that I thought about with her as a Capricorn is this woman is going to be successful. This is just Capricorn wants to be successful and they can do things, they can be in something for the long haul. They're not afraid to take action, even though sometimes it's like they want that plan. They go crazy if they don't have a plan. They want the plan. Stop rushing forward. Don't ask a Capricorn to be doing all this rushing forward because they're not going to do it. You need to explain to them what is the freaking plan because what else are we doing all this for? Right. So, but they are very driven, patient, hardworking. They will put in that work. I've, the one of the ways that I've heard it explained is Capricorn the Capricorn sign is the dinosaur of the astrology wheel. And so it's like they know how to survive for real, for real. And they will be successful. And a lot of times it's going to be monetarily. Okay. So what rules Capricorn? Saturn and Gemini. I told y'all, Gemini is the sign that's going to keep you young. So not only is she a Capricorn, her Saturn which rules Capricorn, is in Gemini. This woman is going to age backwards beautifully. So the thing about this Saturn is this in first of all, Saturn is not necessarily good in Gemini because it's old and Gemini is young. Saturn is like, slow down, take your time. Gemini is like, baby, we get ready to do this. We're going to do that. I'm curious over here. We're going to have this conversation there. I want to move here. I want to move there. So it's not like matching Gemini, but what I will say is that sixth house is very good in the sixth house. The sixth house is like, I have all these to-do lists, it's like systems and it's the house where you will be successful. You're not afraid to look at hard things. So, some of the movies that she's making, she's not afraid to look at things that are challenging. She is making serious movies. She is not sitting up here trying to, we're not trying to be making fantasy and that kind of thing. Um, but that will also add because 6th house is like being efficient and systems, and it's like all these checklists to get things done, and I can imagine if she has a team, she's not a diva. She's like, "Hey, whatever we need to get done, let's get it done. If I need to jump down up in there and work it out with you, I will do that." She even has Mars here in Virgo. Her son is in Virgo. She is like, I'm not afraid of hard work. And she's not afraid to go places. I don't know anything about her, but this is how I would interpret her chart. She is not afraid to go and look at hard things, to have hard conversations. She is a visionary. She is a philosopher. She's highly intelligent and she can have these intelligent conversations. But she's here to help expand people, help them to, move outside of their comfort zone, outside of their bubble. She also has her career point, this MC here in Scorpio. Scorpio is a strategist, is driven like nobody's business, very driven. It's in an 11th house that has to do with technology and broadcasting a message. Um, this ninth house has to do with publicity and, yeah, it's like it's definitely like this house of publishing, that kind of thing. So she has a lot of placements that make her really stand out and, make her work stand out. She has Jupiter over here and Neptune in the 12th house, movies, and it's very intellectual. She's gonna make you think. She wants to broaden your horizons. Her Venus is over here in, Cancer. Let's see here. Cancer is definitely a sign that has to do with history and the ancestors. Uh, I can imagine that she is good with collaboration and, she's classy. She's very classy. To me, the 7th house is classy. It's Venus's house. She's classy. I wonder if she's gonna do something new or if she's returning to working on something because this Mars has been sitting on her Venus. And so I just wonder if it's gonna be creating something. We'll be hearing something from her about her work pretty soon. It also rules her 5th house. Venus rules her 5th house. So I can imagine that we'll be hearing from her about a project soon. Some of y'all may already know if that is the case. Um, oh, I haven't talked about her moon. Her moon is in Pisces. So you can see there's a lot of Pisces going on because Pisces is film and creativity, that kind of thing, being on the big screen, that kind of thing. So her moon is in Pisces in the 3rd house, which again is it's a house of communication. And I could tell you she's very creative. I remember realizing how creative Capricorns are. The more I started watching Capricorns, they can be very, very creative. And that's because this 3rd house is, Pisces for them. So I love that for Ava. I would say that I can imagine. Well, maybe it's not gonna be, something on the big screen. I don't know if she's into podcasting, especially given that she's a filmmaker, but I would imagine she's going to perhaps start maybe making films in a new way, but they're gonna be small films and putting them out, or maybe if she's not already teaching people how to make films, maybe she's a professor of some sort, not sure. But I just think whatever this new thing is that we'll hear from her, that it's gonna be, like, new and cutting edge, but it's not gonna be super long. It'll be short bites that, she's sharing some story. So I'm really excited to hear from Ava. So I hope that y'all have enjoyed this as much as I have enjoyed looking at their charts. I feel better in my soul and my spirit. I wish, the Queen Wendy so much love and healing, and may she be well taken care of. Um, Blessings on Drake. I know it's a hard time for you, Drake, but I want you to go on ahead and um, understand that this is your time to change. I think this is hard for a lot of people in that they want to just stay the same. Drake has a lot of fixed energy. You know, his ascendant is in Leo, one, two, three, four planets in Scorpio, and career point in Taurus, Mars in Aquarius. These are all fixed signs. So sometimes when you have this much fixed energy, you don't want to change. So Drake, it's time. You got to make the change. Turn on Michael Jackson, okay? Look at the man in the mirror, and it's time to make a change. And, to Queen Ava, just excited to see what is going to come forth from my fellow Gen X sister. Yeah, I'll be looking for you, Ava. I'll be looking for what you're putting out. I'm paying attention now. So thank you, Jaimin, for recommending Ava. Y'all take care. I appreciate you so much. Also, be sure to download, if you haven't already, the guide to mastering 2025, helping you to navigate this amazing year. This amazing year that is 2025. Love you all so much. If you would also please give the video a like. I would greatly appreciate it. Love you all, and yeah, be well.